you really think that we were gonna stop? Did you really think that we were gonna quit? Did you really think that we were gonna forget the sounds of the change and the cracks of the whip? Did you really?
Welcome, great men and women, to another episode of Breaking Down the Divine, presented to you by Divine Royalty Entertainment, where wisdom is wealth and wealth is wisdom. That's right. And this podcast is also sponsored by Divided Nation Unity Campaign, where we focus on unity, ownership, and global identity. That's right, global identity. And we are producing this from the powerful, magnificent studio, Dream Launch Studio, where our friend and our producer, Patrick O'Neill, is doing his thing on the highest level. And you know this young lady right here, Tracy Knox. She is my co-host, and she is helping me break down the divide. And we are having fun. We're doing our thing on the highest level. What you think?
Yes, we are.
The last podcast, I think, went real fast. It was powerful. We was talking about the politics and political science of the African American community and how we have to really kind of go back to school, right, and learn how to vote and be a conscious voter. So I think we're doing our thing on the highest level. Right. Once again, I need you to go get your copy, to get your copy of your book so you can be on the same page, so you can follow along and use this as a manual and an instruction manual for preparation for elevation, right? Right. Preparation for elevation. How you doing? You looking over there? You good?
Looking good.
You looking good? Okay.
Thank you.
Yep, you looking great. How's the family? Everybody good? How's your spouse and the kids?
My husband,
Everybody good?
Kids, they're doing wonderful.
Great. I want to give a shout out to my wife, Vanessa. What's up? And to my kids. What's up? And I think we have to start doing that, right?
Giving our family a shout out.
Just to represent all the families,
right,
in the African American community, and that we are representing families, and I'm quite sure there are many people that's representing their families, right?
Correct.
And so we can do that.
Correct. Because we're bringing solutions for our family.
Right.
Right.
We're definitely doing that. And we're talking about unity, so unity definitely starts with the family first.
Correct.
Okay, so we're doing that. And so how was your weekend? Good?
The weekend. It was wonderful.
Okay. I'm just trying to get you.
I know.
I'm just trying to get you relaxed a little bit. Let people know, hey, we are human. We're not robots over here. We're not robots over here. We chilling, and we try to do this on the highest level, and we're trying to get relaxed and make sure that we deliver this to you with excellent spirit. Correct. Relaxed spirit, correct, not the spirit of anxiety, A, B, C, and D. We want to laugh. We want to have some fun, and we want to do it. All right, so let's get in picture 5.
Picture 5.
Where we're going to be talking about what?
Give it up.
Give it up. And for you who read the book, you know that Raymond is about to meet with his father and his godfather. Mm-hmm. And they're going to the suite. Actually, it's a plaza where the godfather rented out the whole and leased the whole floor. You know what I'm saying? He. Now, I want to properly introduce the godfather to you.
Yes.
He is an African philanthropist, okay? And this guy is wealthy. As you're going to read, his wealth is old money. It comes from generation and generation of wealth. Mm. And we can put a pin there and talk about this move that we're about to embark on. It's going to begin a generational wealth in your family, a generational wealth in our community, that we are no longer going to be living from paycheck to paycheck.
Yes.
We are going to be focusing on not the next paycheck, but the next inheritance for our children. Right? Because the scriptures does say that the righteous leaves an inheritance to his children.
Correct.
Right? So we're going to, what this move is going to do is really prepare us for generational wealth. Generational wealth. And so the Godfather, he didn't work for his wealth. He inherited from his father and his grandfather. Wow. And we're going to discover that as he read the book. So he's a philanthropist, and he has this awesome responsibility to build this new nation. We're going to talk about that. And I'm going before myself, so let me pause right here. I'm going to pump the brakes real quick. And so Raymond is being introduced to his godfather for the first time, a godfather he never knew he had.
Correct.
His father is introducing him to this guy in picture 5, and he is like, what's really going on here? Right. Okay. And so his father is trying to break the news to him. This is your godfather, and your godfather and I orchestrated your entire life into this point. So right. what you see?
I thought you was great. Go ahead.
No, I'm going to pause here.
Pump the brakes.
Yeah, I'm going to pump my brakes right now.
So let's talk a little bit about how Raymonds Godfather and father actually orchestrated his whole life from the time that he was actually born,
right,
up until
right.
his marriage and
right.
vice presidency, everything. They really orchestrated.
Right.
So when we look at that, do we feel like that is significant for even our children?
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely.
a lot of times what we do is you want me to pump the brakes?
No,
or you
go
want to touch that?
Go ahead.
A lot of times what we do is we encourage our kids to do sports.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of our kids connect to thinking that they're going to be the next greatest.
Right. Michael Jordan
or
LeBron.
Right, correct.
Right.
But the way that these two particular men orchestrated Raymond's life was at a highest level.
Right.
We'll say that.
Right. And that's a good point. Raymond was blessed to have two men in his life that trained him for his purpose and for his destiny. So let's pause right here.
Right. I was going to say
we should have at least two men in our lives that will train us for our destiny. That is our grandfather and our fathers. These two men in our life. And I'm saying something powerful here because we can barely get one man.
Right.
And if you're going to fulfill your purpose on the highest level, you got to have at least two men in your life that says, I'm going to pour into this individual. I'm going to make sure that he reaches destiny. She reach her destiny, A, B, C, and D.
Right. And the character of these two men, that's significant because it was his father that was a pastor.
Right.
And his godfather that was.
Right. An African philanthropist. And, let's look at the father. The father was a bishop.
Correct.
And so he had spiritual principles. Right. And we're going to talk about spirituality in connection with social and political reform. But right here, you're talking about the character. Right. And so it's always good to have, make sure these two men have good character.
Right.
Make good character. Because there are men that we have in the community that is teaching our young generation, and they're teaching them how to sell drugs, or they're teaching them how to kill, or they're teaching them the negative.
Correct.
So that is a good point. Make sure that they are teaching them something. Make sure these individuals are men of good character. So two men in our lives that can help us to fulfill our purpose and reach our destiny. I think that's important, right? Okay. I want to say this, and I'm going to move on, I promise. I look at Mayweather, right? Mayweather is like the champions of champions when it comes to boxing. You know, when I think of boxing, I think of Mike Tyson and I think of Mayweather, right? And Mike Tyson had the same thing. Well, let me back up. Mayweather had his father and I think his uncle. His father and his uncle.
Correct.
And they built this team where this guy, he leaves, you know, boxing arena, you know, a champion.
Right.
Very successful. So you can see how two men poured into his life and he dominated the boxing field.
Correct.
Right. And you can see that even with Mike Tyson when he was when he originally came in, you know, this guy, and I believe it's his son. I forget the guy's name. Maybe my producer can help me. The coach for Mike Tyson, the white guy, actually. And so I forget his name. Y'all can, you know, send me a letter or text or email.
Or even like the movie Rocky.
We want. Okay, Rocky. At any rate, we're talking about men who says, okay, we're gonna come together and orchestrate this guy's life. So we need something or someone rather in the African American community that is going to do that for us to go to the next level.
Correct.
Men who are willing to pour into us, right?
Right.
And this is a serious demonstration. You ready for this? One of the problems that we have in the community when it comes to going to another level, we have to designate a leader. We have to designate, watch this, a spiritual father. We have to designate a godfather and someone like Bishop Jackson to say these two individuals is going to help us go to the next level. I think this is what we was looking for in Martin Luther King. Yep. I think this is what we were looking for Martin Luther King. I think this is what we was looking for even in Jesse Jackson at times.
Wow.
And I think this is what we was looking for in Obama. But no one officially came out and say, I am going to be the community godfather, or I'm going to father the community.
Wow.
Now listen, if we don't get nothing else right, we have to get this right, because we're going to be dealing with a lot of issues of trying to do things on our own, trying to create our own political path, our social path, A, B, C, and D, when that's not our responsibility. That is the who? The spiritual father.
And you think it should just be one?
I think it should be at least two. Because too many heads is like a monster. You got a monster. I think it should be two. Once again, you have these two individuals. And these two were going to represent the father and the grandfather. Two generations that's going to be able to lead the African American community to another level. And I like what you asked. That was a good question, because that's what everybody's going to ask. First of all, people are going to say, who was qualified to lead me? I'm not going to just follow anybody. Really?
Right. Or they're going to feel like they're qualified.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, men, they're like.
Right. I was going to say something. I ain't going to do it. Right. Men are going to say that. Right. But we have to have that. We need that in order to get that structure, in order to go to another level. I want to say some more on that, but we need it.
Because I kind of see something.
What is that?
I can see the levels. Like if you have two men that are spiritual and that are teaching, and they teach this level, then that level, when they get to it, will teach the next. So it's not that you're not significant, but I think it's like a chain of command. That's how I see it. You know what I mean?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. And accountability.
Correct. So it's not like those two spiritual leaders are going to do all of the work. They're going to teach the fathers then teach their sons. So
right.
It works like that.
Right. Absolutely. And that's the benefit.
It's some accountability.
It is accountability.
Right.
in its structure, its orders, accountability. Somebody have to take the lead. Right now, we are a community without a head. We have these dreams, we have these ideas, we have these concepts, we have these aspirations, these inspiration. But who is our leader? Who is our leader? We need a designated leader, and we need this leader to understand fatherhood. We need this leader to understand fatherhood. We need a leader to understand that the African American community never been trained. The scripture says, train up the child in the way that they should go,
Right.
and they won't depart. I just gave you an example of Mayweather, but I can talk about Michael Jackson, Mayweather, the Williams sisters. These individuals
Right,
who we knew fathers was in their lives and trained them, and they dominated their profession.
Correct.
Okay? So if this is true,
And Tiger Woods, I believe.
Tiger
his dad,
Woods,
right.
same thing.
Right.
So fathers play a major. I'm gonna show you how the mothers play their part too. But right now we're putting emphasis on the fathers
Okay.
because
Fathers.
of the two men
Correct.
that's in this particular chapter. So I want to give a shout out to all the fathers who is participating in their sons and their daughters' lives, and I want to say, keep up the great work. And even though we may not be doing it as a community, if you can do it as an individual,
Correct.
you know what I'm saying? And I hope this particular chapter motivate us to do better in that area, and I'm not just talking about the ones who never made any mistakes. I'm talking about the fathers who made mistakes, but they
Correct.
getting up and they
Correct.
moving forward and they still trying to do the demonstration. Okay. Now, the Godfather also represents spirituality. Okay. The Godfather represents spirituality, and this is the first time we kind of introduced to the Godfather in his character as a spiritual person. Now, this is important as well.
Right.
I'm going to make a point, and I think that you're ready. If you're not ready, get ready, because I'm going to ask you, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
You ready, Patrick?
We have to know the difference between religion and spirituality. Watch this. Spirituality is going to affect your political and your social structure. Religion is going to keep God in the church, in the box, and you're going to visit God on Sunday in his house. You're going to go to the house of the Lord and visit him. You're going to sing your songs, and you're going to preach your sermons, and you're going to have your offerings, and you're going to thank the members, saints, and friends. And you may walk out with your finger up or your head down and you're on your tippy toe. I'm playing around. But that's as far as it goes. You can't take the power or the information that you learned in church into the political arena or the social arena. That's against the rules. Why? Because there's a such thing they call the separation of church and state.
Right.
That's the biggest trick. The Godfather represents the spirituality that says, no, true spirituality going to impact your political structure, your social structure. Watch this. Your homes, your community. It's going to affect you as an individual, right? It's going to help you make that decision to go to the highest level. Do you know this? I'm going to say this. I'm going to leave it alone because I don't want to sound like I'm preaching. Do you know that Jesus' arch enemy was the political leaders and the religious leaders of his day?
Right.
You know why? Because Jesus was spiritual, and he was teaching the people how your spirituality supposed to affect you in every area of your life.
Wow.
What'd you say about that?
Wow.
Anything?
Ooh.
Yeah.
When I was in my mind, what I could see was that when you are spiritual, you is no. I had the word.
Take your time.
Yeah.
It's no boundaries.
No boundaries. Thank you. That's the word. It's no boundaries. And so many times in church settings, we keep it. It's like we act like
Right.
it's just right there. The
Right.
power is just right there.
Right.
The healing. If I could just get to the house, I'm going to get healed.
Right.
But spirituality, when you're spiritual, you can get healed anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Absolutely.
no boundaries. It's no
Right.
correct.
Right.
And so that's really a trick.
Right.
Yeah,
It is a
not
trick.
yeah, we don't want to.
It is a trick to take away the power
Correct.
or to water down what we have.
Right.
The potency of what we have.
Or the power is just in one person.
Or the power is
right,
just in
right.
one person.
The power is
Absolutely.
just in one person.
Absolutely.
Or right.
Absolutely.
Correct.
And I
Or
think
one setting.
I think
In
the
a certain
COVID
setting, you know.
I think the COVID-19 also kind of helped us to realize that we got to go back to home base. Get back to that one-on-one with God.
Right.
And develop that spirituality and kind of somewhat pulled us out of religion. It kind of pulled us out of religion because we start realizing that my relationship with God is not based on a building,
Right.
the choir.
Correct.
You see, the way that we dress,
The drums,
the program, and people start getting back to the basics.
Correct.
And I believe that is God calling us out of religion into spirituality. Right. Because the truth of the matter is, if we're going to go to another level politically and socially, we need to tap into our spirituality.
Correct.
And that's what the Godfather represents. The Godfather represents, hey, we need to understand who we are spiritually as a community, right? And tap into that. Because the truth of the matter is, this is how we got off the plantation as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, we got off of the plantation because someone tapped into the spirituality.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
Right.
Now, I tell you, I really don't, I'm trying not to make this into like a Bible discussion, but I believe personally that the Bible is one of the greatest instruments to get the greatest principles from. So that's why I make reference to it, because it's a spiritual book. Apart from all the institutions that's trying to make it religious, it's a spiritual book. All right. With that said, when you look at how the people in the Bible who was oppressed got delivered or got set free and liberated, right? One of the first signs of that was the enemy self-destruct. Okay, Jehoshaphat, if you remember in Jehoshaphat, I think it's in Chronicles, they going through this battle, the odds is against them, they go and they praising God as they go to this battle, and when they get to the battlefield, the enemy had already self-destruct, and they are liberated from their oppressors. How did the African Americans, back then slaves, how did they get liberated? What happened? Something happened in history that liberated them. Come on, go back to school. It's real simple. Go ahead, you got to say it.
Segregation.
Segregation. I'm gonna get you. Your teacher said, "Is that Tracy?"
No, that's not Tracy.
Is that Tracy? The Civil War.
Okay.
The Civil War, where the North and the South self-destruct. They came together, and guess what? Liberation. Okay? I say that to say somebody was on that plantation praying. You see? And those same angels that came down, I'm going to get a little deeper. The same angels that came down for Jehoshaphat and them came down for the slaves and liberate the slaves. Okay. I am suggesting this, and I told you this is going to be a supernatural move. I'm suggesting this. If we do not tap back into our spirituality, we won't be able to go to the next level of this powerful move. We got to tap back into it. And I'm putting emphasis on this. Not religion. Not religion. Religion puts the chain and put us deeper into oppression. So we're not talking about religion. We're talking about spirituality. And that's what the Godfather represents.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation about.
And we're going to talk about that later. Okay, what else you say in picture?
We want to talk really quickly about the sacrifice.
Yeah, the sacrifice. Go ahead and set that up. That's a good point.
Right. So the thing is that Raymonds Godfather and his father is asking him to let go, to
of the vice
presidency.
presidency. Yeah. So he's about to become the first African American vice president. Now, once again, I have to let y'all know this, that I wrote this book back in 2005. It was published back in 2005. So this is before Obama, this is before Harris. Matter of fact, I wrote the movie back in 2003.
Okay.
So this is why the book says the first African American vice president. Right. Okay. So just a spoiler alert for that. Go ahead.
Right. So, but they're not telling him why. They're not giving him an explanation of why should he sacrifice to let this go after they prepped him, after they groomed him for this position.
Right.
Now they're saying, let it go.
Right. Right. They saying let it go because this was not his divine destiny. He think because he was prepped for the vice president, for the vice presidency, that he's supposed to be the vice president.
Correct.
When actually he's going to be someone greater. Okay. You'd be surprised of the people who's being prepped for something greater. But
Wow.
yeah, but they settling for less. But God says, actually, I'm prepping you for something greater than. And listen, watch this. You ready for this? Yes, we had the first African American president, Obama, and the vice president, Harris. And I think as great as those things are, and those achievements and accomplishments are, guess what? God is prepping us for something greater.
Definitely.
He's prepping the African American community for something greater. And like Raymond is saying, what can be greater than what I'm going after?
Correct.
And I think the community is right here. That's what we're saying. We're saying the same thing. The president, vice president, we achieved everything. Right. And I'm trying to tell you, get ready, because God is actually prepping us for something greater than what we already achieved, what we already accomplished.
Correct.
You going to say?
I just want to say it. I just want to read this statement. Sometimes you can't get what is on another level until you are ready to give up what you have.
Wow.
This is from the Godfather.
Absolutely. That's what the Godfather says. And that's how he dropped. And you're going to see the Godfather going to be dropping some serious jewels. And guess what? What he is saying to us is, we got to let go the old before you can get the new. Well, show me the new. That's not how spirituality works. Spirituality works, you let go the old to get the new, because you're walking by faith and not by sight.
Right.
And I'm afraid that most of us got here by sight, looking, watching. It looked good. It sounds good.
Right.
And up until this point, we've been manipulated and we've been tricked because we're going by what we see. Spirituality says, hey, you're not going to see it, but you got to know based on the track record of your progress. And so far, we've been achieving. We've been accomplishing. And this is what Raymond's supposed to have said, actually. Okay, if I've been prepped for this and I achieved all of this, right? And you telling me to let this go, it must be great. Wow. It must be greater.
Correct.
Are you saying? And that's what the African American community have to do right now. And I think once we tap into our spirituality and start looking at this supernaturally, we're going to do it. We're going to say everything we've been through and everything that we achieved, and you're saying let this go, and we're going to talk about what we got to let go. Let this go. That means God said, yeah, I got something greater. I got something greater. Go ahead.
I mean, we're saying that, like, you need to tap into your spirituality. But so many people was like, well, then, but how?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
That's a whole nother conversation,
right? Yeah,
but that's going to be like a big point.
Yeah, it is a great.
Right.
And we're going to talk about that.
Right.
But at this point, we got to talk about letting go. Letting go what? Letting go traditions. Letting go trust. Systems and customs and these different things where we're holding on to because we're comfortable.
Yes.
We're relaxed.
Correct.
I'm about to say this right here, and every time I say this, you got to get ready. So are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. A lot of us got to let go of the American dream.
Right.
I'm going to help you. Notice it's the American dream. It's not the African American dream. So that's why we feel left out. Or that's why we feel that we have to constantly work to get it and achieve. Well, why the mainstream, why does it seem like they getting it? Because it's for them. It's the American dreams. They are Americans and they can achieve and accomplish. Now, if it was an African American dream, everyone would be included. The Americans and the Africans, right? But it's the American dream. And so some of us, we got to let that go. We got to let go of the American dream because maybe, just maybe, what God got for us is greater than the American dream.
Right. Yeah, we kind of talked about that earlier because even for me, done a podcast, but we're so comfortable in tradition.
Right.
In the way that we see things or our truth.
Right.
So it's like it's almost like a war in a sense. Like you know the pull, you know like I should be going this way.
Right.
But it's almost like a pull to stay.
Right.
Because you're afraid, really.
Right.
Because you know you're going to come up against some opposition. You know you're going to come up against some.
Right.
You know that type of war. So it's like, okay, I'm just going to stay in
my comfort zone. Right. And I'm glad you're saying that. And I know you're married, but I also know that you was always married. You never was a single. Mm-hmm. You was a single. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I was.
Yeah, you was. That's right. So with that said, it's even more hard for women who have to be both parents, bring both paychecks in.
Right.
And now you're saying, let go of the American dream.
Right.
Right. So we can do this over here. Okay, what is that exactly? Because I got to feed these babies over here. I got to make sure they're secure. And you telling me to let go. You can't see it. You just got to let the American dream go. And then we'll give you this right here.
Yeah, I just saw something.
What?
But we as women don't realize we've been doing it in a sense. I'm not talking about the American dream.
No,
I'm
I understand what you're saying.
Being led by the Spirit to feed our children, to do certain things. We don't even know that we've been operating that way. Anyway, for years.
Right.
For a long time.
Right. Wow. I can see that.
Wow.
I can see that. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And
so we don't even know we did tap in so many times that we may have not even realized
that we tapped into. Right. And it's helping you politically, socially, and domestically.
Right.
And it's helping you in so many different levels.
Wow.
That's why I said the females is going to play a major part.
Something else, ladies.
Yeah, definitely.
Powerful.
Definitely powerful women, powerful ladies. So we definitely kind of over our time, but it was a good conversation. And our producer said we got to go. And so we're going to come back next week, and we're going to continue our discussion. It has been a pleasure and an honor breaking down the divide. And as far as I'm concerned, I feel us getting closer and closer. I feel that as a community, we're going to get closer together as we continue to break down the divide. Once again, I am Naco from, I probably introduced myself. Probably none of these podcasts. Like, man, who are you, man? We don't know you. I'm just assuming, Hey, I'm Naco, the author of Divided Nation. And once again, we are podcasting from the great, magnificent Dream Launch Studio, where our producer, Patrick O'Neill, is doing his thing on the highest level. Hey, this is our time. This is our season. We got to get ready for something greater. And I want to thank my co-host, once again, Tracy Knox, for helping us break down the divide. We see you next time on Breaking Down the Divide on the highest level.
Wow, how much time was that?
Okay, 30